You know, there are some books that just stick with you, that really change how you see the world. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning is definitely one of those. It's so much more than a book. It's a powerful lesson in what it means to be human, forged right in the heart of the Holocaust. So today, we're going to dive into the profound insights he discovered about finding purpose, even in the face of unimaginable suffering. Frankl often brought up this powerful idea from Nichzche, and really, it became the central pillar of his entire life's work. The belief is simple, right? If you have a deep sense of purpose, a why to live, you can endure almost any how. And as it turns out, Frankl's own life was about to become the ultimate, most brutal test of that very idea. And this is where it gets real. For Frankl, this wasn't some thought experiment. This was the question he had to confront in a Nazi concentration camp. So what happens when your how becomes unbearable, and everything that makes up your why is systematically destroyed? What's even left of you then? So let's just take a moment to understand what that destruction actually looked like. For a new prisoner, the first psychological phase was just pure shock. They were plunged into a world specifically designed to annihilate not just the body, but the human spirit.
I mean, try to imagine this scene. You've been stuck on a packed train for days, and you finally get out, only to be forced into a line in front of a single SS officer. And with a casual point of his finger, he decides your fate. For about 90% of the people on Frankl's train, a point at the left meant immediate death in the gas chambers. Survival was completely arbitrary.
The losses were just absolute. Frankl's entire family, his parents, his brother, his pregnant wife, all of them perished. Every single one of his possessions, gone. His name was erased. But for him, as a scientist and a thinker, the most personal loss was a manuscript he had hidden in his coat. It contained his entire life's work. Frankl later wrote about this exact moment. A single contemptuous word from a guard was all it took to just strike out his entire former life. That was it. That was the end of the first phase, the complete severing of every connection to his past.
And this is what he became. He was no longer Dr. Viktor Frankl, the respected psychiatrist. He was now just a number, tattooed on his skin and sewn onto rags. A human being reduced to a completely interchangeable object.
So if everything external is gone, what could possibly be left? Well, this is where Frankl's most profound discovery really begins. He found that while the guards could control his environment, there was one place they could never, ever control: his inner world. To cope with the constant beatings, the starvation, and the death all around them, prisoners entered a second phase: apathy. It was a kind of emotional death, really, a protective shell they had to build. You see, feelings like disgust, horror, or pity, those became luxuries they just couldn't afford. They watched unspeakable things happen without flinching, because that was the only way to endure.
And this right here, this became Frankl's central idea. He realized that even in the depths of that apathy, there was one freedom nobody could ever take away. They could beat your body, they could starve you, they could strip you of all dignity, but you always, always had the power to choose your internal response.
And for him, this freedom was a lifeline. He tells this incredible story of being on a brutal death march, frozen in agony, and he would just retreat into his mind and have these vivid, beautiful conversations with his wife. He had no idea if she was even still alive, but in that moment, it didn't matter. He realized that love was an inner experience, something that went beyond physical presence, and it gave him moments of actual bliss that made him stronger than his suffering. So, from these unbelievable experiences, Frankwell developed a whole new school of psychotherapy. You see, he didn't just theorize about the importance of meaning, he had lived its absolute, undeniable necessity. He called it logootherapy. It comes from the Greek word logos, which means meaning. And the whole idea is that our deepest, most fundamental drive as human beings isn't for pleasure, it's for the pursuit of meaning and purpose in our lives. Now, this is where he really differed from the big names before him. While Sigman Freud argued our main drive is a will to pleasure, Frankl came along and insisted it was a will to meaning. He believed that the root cause of so many of our modern anxieties isn't some frustrated instinct, but a frustration of meaning. He called it an existential vacuum, that feeling of inner emptiness, of purposelessness.
Okay, but how do you actually find meaning, especially when you're suffering? Well, Frankl's answer is surprisingly practical, and it's something all of us can use.
He laid out three main paths. The The first is through creation, by giving something to the world, like a piece of art or building something new. The second is through experience, by taking something from the world, whether it's appreciating a beautiful sunset or, most importantly, by loving another person. And the third path, the one that was so vital in the camp, is found in the attitude we choose to take towards suffering that we simply cannot change. And that last one, it requires a complete flip in your perspective. Instead of always asking, what can I get from life? The real question becomes, what does life demand of me? It shifts the whole focus away from our desires and onto our responsibilities.
Life, Frankle said, is constantly asking us questions. And our unique purpose is found in how we answer those questions. Not with our words, but with our actions. For one man, the answer was his child waiting for him. For another, it was an unfinished book that only he could write. That specific personal why, that was their key to survival.
So, what is the ultimate takeaway from this whole harrowing experience? Well, Frankel's conclusions are absolutely timeless, and honestly, they feel more urgent today than ever before. He saw that kindness and cruelty existed on both sides of the barbed wire. There were cruel prisoners, and there were compassionate guards. And he concluded from this that there were really only two races of people in this world, the decent and the indecent, and they are found in all groups. No society is immune for this. And this is the sobering final thought he leaves us with. Auschwitz showed us the absolute depths of what humanity is capable of, both incredible evil and incredible good. Frankel's work is a profound reminder that in every moment, in every single circumstance, we have a choice about which of those two races we're going to belong to. And so the question really turns back to us, doesn't it? Frankel's entire philosophy is a challenge. He reminds us that life isn't about what we expect from it, but what it expects from us. So the question is, what is your why? What is the unique task that only you can fulfill? Because in the end, your entire life is the answer.